Now we're going to do the same project with the same cutaways, but this time we're going to use iMovie, and I'm using a program called Reflector to put the iMovie onto my PC so that I can do the recording. So you might want to look that up, Reflector. There are other programs that will do it, and I'm using Reflector rather than Apple TV because the interactive whiteboard here that doesn't have the input. So I'm going to open up iMovie, and I'm going to start a new project. So I'm going to hit the plus sign in the top right hand corner, and you've got movie and trailer. I'm sure you've played with the trailer feature, it's fun, but I'm going to use movie. I'm just going to choose a nice simple template just to get started. I'm not really going to use any of the templates, so it doesn't really matter. And there's the iMovie interface, which kind of looks a bit like the Adobe Premiere one. They're all sort of the same. So I'm going to import my footage, but if you are definitely going to edit on iMovie, you can actually start the video in iMovie. So you open up a new iMovie project and use the camera icon, and the movie will automatically be dropped into the timeline of iMovie for editing later. But of course you don't have to do it that way. You can grab some video footage. So I'm going to go into my recently added, and there are all my shots which you would remember from the other version, all of my close-ups, wide shots and coverage and so on. And it's done in reverse order of filming, so that's the stuff I did last, the wide shots, and that's the stuff I did first. I would normally do it the other way. I'd shoot the wide shots first, but I did it this way because I wasn't sure I would get time to do any wide shots. So I'm essentially going to reproduce what I did before. I'm going to start with a rough cut, and then I'm going to do some cutaways. So I tap on the shot that I want. I can do the in and out point if I want to. You can just slide that slider. Now you can't see what my finger's doing, but my finger is on the right hand yellow bar, and I'm just setting the in and out point that way, exactly as I did before. And once I've selected my in and out point, I just use the drop arrow and it slots that shot down. Then I'm going to go to my close-up, which is this one, and same again, I'm going to set my in and out point. So I'm going to play this shot now and just find that same beginning paragraph that she says.
3, 2, 1, action.
Take heed, home toward our person. How you awake and our sleeping sword of war. Can never two such kingdoms seem content without much fall of blood. May I, with right and conscience, make this claim.
So that's the shot. Annoyingly, in iMovie, which is probably why you wouldn't use it, it doesn't really leave any kind of mark at the out point. So I'm just watching the timeline very closely, this bit here, and just trying to remember where she stops speaking. I can always tidy it up later. So down we go. And now that's an occurrence which you might have to deal with. It just crashed. So if I open up iMovie again, it should just go right back to that same project, and I would need to redo it. But that's easy enough to do. There's no save feature, so I can't do what I would normally do, save as I go. So I'm going to grab this same shot again. Hopefully this time it will go down without crashing. That's all I need it to do. And now I've got my shot. It automatically puts in a cross dissolve, but you don't really have to put up with the cross dissolve. You can change the cut, and we might do this later. What I've done is I've simply tapped it and all your transitions come up, and I would choose none and just have a straight cut. So that's how to do the basic edit, and the rest of it's just the same. You would just find a point to cut away. So at the beginning, I'm going to cut out me saying action.
2, 1, action.
That's there. To edit, there are a couple of things I can do. I can use the in-out point type control and just slide it, but I can do something else. With my finger, after it's selected in yellow, I'm going to swipe my finger down on the screen, and you can see it's made a cut. And then I would select that piece, and then I would just trash it, which I won't do at the moment, but you get the idea. Now I'm playing it along. There's that bad sound, and she's just said take heed how you import our person. So now I'm going to make another cut by swiping my finger. And this one I will in fact trash. So I've selected the shot that I'm going to get rid of and hit the delete key down there, and it's gone. And now I need to cut the beginning of this shot out. Take heed how you import our person. So I'm going to do that now.
2, 1, action.
Take heed how you import our person.
Right there. So now select it and cut. Select the shot that I'm discarding. Use the delete key. And last but not least, I need to do what I did before. I need to separate the audio from the video and put the beginning good audio over this not very good audio that we have here. And the way you do that, if you look down here, there's a control called detach. So if I detach the audio, now the audio is separate, and I'm going to do the same thing with my first one. I'm going to detach the audio, and for this one I'm actually going to delete the audio. It's selected, you can see it's yellow, and then I hit delete. And all I would do now is I would extend this audio out so that it covers the beginning of the previous shot, like so. Same as in Adobe. The other thing that we were doing in Adobe is we were doing the cutaways, and that's also easy enough to do. So I might just find that interesting cutaway of the girl who was nodding and listening. So there's the shot there. So I'm just going to oops, I did the wrong thing there. I dumped the whole thing down. I double tapped it, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to undo. There's the undo key there. I'm going to hit that undo and find a nice cutaway. So I'm just going to play this. Just going to look for something interesting.
Take heed how you import our person. How you awaken our sleeping soul of war. Can never choose such kingdoms in content without much fall of blood.
And there's that one from before, the blood, without much fall of blood. So that's the one I'm going to use. I'm going to look for her face going down and take away most of this beginning, because she's all of this talking. I just want that little bit without much fall of blood. She's looking down. I might just use that much. Adjust my beginning. Just looking for that bit where she has a bit of a guilty down look. Should be coming up. There it is. So I'll go back just slightly, maybe about that much. Now, instead of just hitting the down key, we're going to open up this little menu area, which gives us a few more options. So you can see you've got this is the cutaway tool, this is picture in picture, and this is side by side picture, which is interesting but probably has limited value. And now I'm going to find a decent spot to cut it in. Sleeping sort of raw without much fall of blood. There's the blood around about there. And now I'm going to tap on the cutaway control, tap, and down it goes. And if I use the finger swipe to reduce the timeline, you can see that it'll go to a cutaway.
War. Can never two such kingdoms stand content without much fall of blood. May I, with right
And I would probably need to adjust the timing of that cutaway quite a lot. But that's just a matter of being a bit fiddly with it. I'm just manually adjusting it and just watching. And eventually, after quite some time, probably I would get that exactly as I want it. But you can see the general principle. It's just a lot fiddlier to do in iMovie than it is in Adobe. The best thing to do is to grab iMovie and have a bit of a play around and have a look at what all the controls do. For example, down here, it's a little cogwheel thingy. If you click on that, you've got quite a few things. This is mainly the sorts of things you might do for documentaries and so on, doing like class news reports and so on. There's some classics, fade in and fade out, which you might do. You can play with the sound, and if you're doing a quick edit job of a documentary or a news thing, you could drop in the theme, and it will automatically adjust all of the cutaways and dissolves to fit an overall theme. And you've got some pretty basic special effects that you can drop in as well. So you can essentially do all of the things in iMovie that you might do on a simple project in Adobe Premiere. It's just a little bit more time consuming, a little bit fiddlier, because you're relying on your finger to kind of make all of those adjustments instead of being able to click on things and manually do it. So that's just getting started with editing in iMovie on the iPad. And you don't have to save as you go.